Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, voters are heading to the polls. A mayoral seat and some big issues are on the ballot, but election officials say they're not attracting a lot of voters.
In non-election news today, and yes, there is some, the controversy over a photo of two women in the military breastfeeding while in uniform. We'll show you the photo and tell you what all the fuss is about. KPBS Evening Edition starts now.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dwayne Brown. The fight over California's ban on same-sex marriage is headed to the U.S. Supreme Court tonight. Proposition 8 has now run its course with the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Two of its members struck down the ban earlier this year, ruling it unconstitutional. Today, the full court refused to reconsider the ruling. Proponents of the ban say they will go to the U.S. Supreme Court next. If the High Court refuses and lets the appellate ruling stand, same-sex marriages could be legal again in California by the end of the year. If at least 4 justices agree to accept the case, oral arguments would likely be held next spring. It's election day, but election officials expect a light turnout, and it's just what they've gotten so far. KPBS reporter Jill Reblogel visited several polling places today.
The polling place on the campus of San Diego State University was pretty quiet this morning, despite covering 5 precincts. Poll workers chatted and shared laughs between attending to the few voters who strolled in to cast their ballots. Deborah Seiler says voter turnout seems to be on target with projections. About 40% of the electorate is expected to vote in today's primary.
It's been steady, but not real super brisk.
Seiler says most of the traffic at her office has been drive-through.
Pull all the way to 10, please. Thank you.
Robert Wyatt is one of them. I asked him whether the state's new open primary system, where voters can choose between candidates from multiple parties, was confusing.
Well, like my mom says, you know, you vote Democrat, so you follow the line, so it's pretty simple.
KPBS reporter Jill Reblogel. There are some differences for voters this year. First, new district lines for many elected offices, including Congress and the state legislature. The other change is a top 2 voting system where the top 2 vote getters will advance to the general election in November, regardless of their political party. The Federal Justice Department has sent monitors to 3 California counties to watch for possible voter discrimination during today's election. The agency is monitoring voting places in Alameda, Fresno, and Riverside counties, making sure they're in compliance with the Voting Rights Act. It prohibits discrimination, intimidation, or harassment in elections. Fresno and Riverside counties are required to provide voting assistance in Spanish. Alameda County has to provide assistance in Spanish, Chinese, Vietnamese, and Tagalog. Well, we've got complete coverage of today's election on our website, kpbs.org/election, and that's just part of our election coverage. Beginning at 8 tonight, KPBS TV and radio 89.5 FM will bring you early election returns, followed by more results and analysis starting at 9 and throughout the evening. Get your election results through the night on KPBS television, radio, and online at kpbs.org. A rare sky show is attracting lots of attention today. The transit of Venus started just after 3 this afternoon, and it's still happening. Venus is passing between the Earth and the Sun. It's visible as a black spot on the face of the Sun. These photos were taken by Mary Anderson of the Reuben H. Fleet Science Center. We don't have them, but it's holding a viewing event in Balboa Park tonight. So is the planetarium. There's the picture. The planetarium at Palomar College also holding an event. Otherwise, you have to use special glasses to watch the transit. It will be visible until sunset at 7:54 this evening. The USS Midway Museum celebrates its 8th anniversary on Thursday, but it's already celebrating a major milestone, more than 1 million visitors in 1 year. About 100 naval ships have been converted to museums, but the Midway is the first to reach the 1 million attendance mark in a year. The ship is named for the Battle of Midway that turned the tide of World War II 70 years ago. The Navy handed over a 3-month-old fox rescued from San Clemente Island. The endangered Channel Island fox was abandoned by his parents. Navy biologists took him in and named him Garth. San Clemente Island is the fox's natural habitat and the Navy's largest firing range. The pup was given to the Santa Barbara Zoo on Monday. Rady Children's Hospital is getting top marks in a national review. U.S. News and World Reports ranks pediatric hospitals in a variety of specialties. Rady was number 2 in orthopedics and 9th in pediatric urology. The orthopedics ranking is its highest ever in the annual report. Rady also ranks 20th in diabetes care and 35th in cancer care. The hospital was number 12 in the overall rankings. The debate over breastfeeding in public is back in the news, this time with a twist. Joanne Farian explains from the roundtable.
A photo of 2 women in the military breastfeeding while in uniform has started an uproar. The photos were used for promotional base posters for National Breastfeeding Awareness Month, but some say it's unprofessional and disgraceful to the uniform. Joining me to discuss this controversy are KPBS Home Post blogger Beth Ford-Roth and Wendy Patrick, an SDSU lecturer in business ethics. Thank you both for being here. So, Beth, who are these women in this photograph?
Well, they are 2 members of the Air National Guard, and they're based up at Fairchild Air Force Base in Washington. And as you said, it all started with an idea to promote military moms breastfeeding. And so a local photographer invited some moms to have their pictures taken, sort of nature photos outside, and most of the women were photographed breastfeeding their babies, just wearing their civilian clothes. 2 of the women were photographed wearing their uniforms, and when this photographer posted those photos on her website, they started getting spread around the internet, and that's where the controversy started.
And I know even on our website, kpbs.org, where the photos are posted, we've just been slammed with so many hits and now so many comments. Tell me what some of the people are saying.
Well, the comments are really sort of polarizing. I mean, you have one side, some of them men in the military or women who've been in the military for a while, saying that it's not something that should be done in uniform, that when you wear the uniform, you're reflecting something greater than yourself. And the example has been used, you don't talk on the phone, you don't, or cell phone, I should say, you don't chew gum. You're representing something different, and
so rules of decorum.
Rules of decorum, and so by lifting up the shirt, that's sort of disgracing the uniform. Now, on the other side, you have women and men too saying that this is extremely natural. This is what the woman's body was built to do, which is feed these children, and the children don't always know when the mom's wearing the uniform and not wearing the uniform, and they're hungry when they're hungry, and so she's doing something very natural and feeding her child, and that the issue is really within the person who has the problem and not the woman who's doing the breastfeeding.
So, Wendy, I thought we'd been through this debate already culturally, and as a country. So why? Why is it? What is it about these photos that is causing such an emotional reaction?
Well, I really think that kind of speaks to the issue. It's an emotional reaction, I think, based partly on the nature of the photo, also partly on the nature of the controversy. Clearly, women have breastfed all throughout history and will continue to do so until time in perpetuity. The issues are where they do it, when they do it, and while wearing what, in or out of uniform, which, as Beth points out, the baby has no way of knowing, hungry when it's hungry. I think this is an opportunity to talk about all 3 issues, and I think the bloggers, as all of you know, have seen it as just that. People aren't just commenting on whether or not these moms should have taken off their uniforms to breastfeed. They're not just commenting on whether the mom should have gone into a private place. That really has expanded the discussion of breastfeeding in this day and age. In a day and age where women can't afford to stay home, we have to have dual income families in a lot of respects, and so it's more relevant now to talk about it, I think, than maybe it was 50 years ago.
And I want to pick up on that. These are working moms, right? Like a lot of working moms. So what does the labor law say in terms of a working mom and breastfeeding?
Good. That's a really good question. Well, the Labor Code talks about the fact that an employer has to provide accommodations, including reasonable time and space, which cannot be a bathroom, for a mom to breastfeed. They get a pass if to provide those accommodations would seriously disrupt the operations of the employer. So, I mean, we could speculate as to examples of that, and the bloggers certainly have been doing that. Are we going to have, air traffic controllers breastfeeding in front of staff? Are we going to have prison guards and law enforcement and teachers? Again, we're going sort of into the outrageous, where the labor code is, gives some really good specific guidelines as to how an employer can provide reasonable accommodations for moms to do this.
I do want to let people at home know that we did contact the women in the photo. They are no longer doing interviews. They told us the recent media has portrayed mom to mom as not being supportive of the military. We support the military 110%, and this was never our intention. Beth, do we know what's happened to these women? Are they subject to any kind of disciplinary action?
No, they basically have been told by their superiors that they aren't to talk to the media. And based on what a spokesman for Fairchild Air Force Base said, the issue was never with them, the women breastfeeding in their uniform. It was that they were promoting a cause while wearing their uniform. And the cause was, women breastfeeding or military moms breastfeeding, but that they shouldn't have been wearing their uniform to promote the cause. And so that's the issue that they had. But they're saying it's an educational moment, and these women are not facing any reprimand.
I want to thank you both for being here, and I want to send people to our website because they can read some of these comments. They can make their own comments. That's kpbs.org, and I know your blog website as well.
homepost.kpbs.org.
Great. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Soon there won't be any more candy, sugary cereal, or fast food on the Disney Channel. Today, the Walt Disney Company became the first major media company to ban ads for junk foods on its television channels, radio stations, and websites. The company is hoping to stop kids from eating badly by taking the temptation away, but temptation will be around for a few more years. The ban takes effect in 2015. Some encouraging news tonight on the housing front. Mortgage default notices in San Diego County fell to their lowest level in 6 years. The numbers from DataQuick are based on the month of April. Default notices are the first sign of a foreclosure, but even those were down to a 5-year low. DataQuick says both figures appear to be on a downward trend after hitting record highs between 2008 and 2009. The master plan community of Otay Ranch in Chula Vista was just halfway done when the housing crisis started. Now, sales are beginning to crawl back up, but KPBS reporter Tom Fudge says the market has changed and the homes and communities people are buying look a little different.
These new homes were built in what the developers of Otay Ranch call Village 2, and Spaniata Ingram has just moved in.
This area is just nice. The schools are good, the neighbors are good. I actually found out I worked with that neighbor. You met Bruce already. He's a great guy. One of my son's soccer teammates, they live right over on the corner.
But the homes being built now in Otay Ranch are different from the ones they built 10 years ago when the home market was booming. Stephen Haas is in charge of planning for Baldwin & Sons, the developer of many homes in Village 2. He says today's new homes are smaller and they're less expensive.
These are single-family homes on individual lots with their own private yards. And I think that is what is very desirable for many families. The American dream is still very alive. It just has been shrunken a little bit.
Lots today are smaller, and Haas says the square footage of the homes he's selling has dropped by about a third compared to the previous decade. The market has forced developers to lower prices but still provide an attractive product. They've tried to do that by using some innovative designs. One example is clustering homes in 6s and 4s.
One of the most characteristic things about these home clusters is they only have one driveway. Why have only one driveway instead of 4 or 6?
A shared driveway means the lots can be smaller. Kent Aden, an executive with Otay Ranch New Homes, says they also have less street frontage, and that means lower costs.
We reduce the amount of street that we have to build for each house, and we can save on construction costs, which means we can offer a lower price home.
But it's not just affordability. The shared driveway gives a home cluster a kind of common courtyard. Remember the cul-de-sac? Suburban developers have largely abandoned them because they were very impractical for moving traffic. But cul-de-sacs created protected streets for kids to play on, and they offered a central square where neighbors would gather. Aiden says the shared driveway is the new cul-de-sac.
By doing this, you're creating that cul-de-sac environment without having a cul-de-sac, and it gives a lot of hard surface for kids to play on.
It's something that Ingram can confirm.
My youngest son comes out with his basketball. He can be right here, right inside. Everybody's respectful, so not worried about anybody speeding up in my driveway.
Neighbor Bruce Bjornson says he often works in his garage, which faces that common courtyard known as the driveway.
I have my garage door open like I might be doing something, and like again, the guys behind me and stuff, they'll come out and walk by, and so we'll just stop and talk for a while,
Urban planners say not having one driveway for every home means home fronts become a more dominant feature on the street. They're also featuring home fronts in Village 2 in a very old-fashioned way, the use of alleyways as a place to store cars and garages in the back. But price remains the dominant factor in any buyer's decision. Ingram and Bjornson bought their homes for between $380,000 and $420,000. Mark Goldman is a business lecturer at San Diego State and a mortgage broker. He says those prices are just a bit higher than the median home price in San Diego County. And that's a good deal because people will pay more for new homes. Why will they?
Why do people buy new cars? I don't mean to respond with a question, but a lot of people just like having that new original bathtub, that new original room, that new home where no one has lived before. People will pay a premium for that.
In its heyday, Otay Ranch was selling about 1,000 homes every year. Even now that sales have picked up a bit, only about 100 a year are being sold. At some point, housing demand will cause home sales to rebound to something more akin to pre-recession levels. But Stephen Haas says the housing bust has caused a fundamental change in home design. The days of the McMansion are behind us. He tells of one San Diego man who moved to Temecula to buy a bigger house.
And I asked him how he liked living up there, and he said he hated the commute. He had a house so large that there were some weeks he did not even go into some of the rooms in his house. Now imagine that we bought homes that we don't even use anymore. Would you buy something and put it in your closet and never wear it or use it? Well, we had a tendency to do that as a society, and now we're becoming more realistic about what our needs are.
Meanwhile, Spanyata Ingram is just happy to be home.
Welcome to my neighborhood.
That was Tom Fudge reporting. Assuming the Otay Ranch development is fully built out, it will include 26,000 homes.
It used to be one of the largest industries in San Diego. Now it's a faint memory and a namesake. Tuna Harbor in San Diego comes by its name, honestly, paying homage to an industry that once dominated Southern California waters. Joining me to talk about a new exhibit at the San Diego History Center celebrating what tuna once meant to San Diego are Matt Schiff, curator of the exhibit, and Julius Zolezzi, a retired tuna fisherman. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here.
Thanks for having us.
So, Matt, I bet a lot of people don't remember that San Diego was once home to a big tuna industry. Tell us about that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't remember, and I think it's due to the large influx in population after the tuna industry left. But for a time, the tuna industry was one of the biggest ones in San Diego, probably second only to the Navy, employing hundreds of thousands of people all along San Diego Bay.
So what happened? What happened to this industry?
The industry went into decline in the late 70s due to some environmental factors, and then, largely the tuna are migratory, so they move as well.
Wow. Now, Julius, I know your family is part of this history, played an important role. Tell us about how they got started and you got started in the tuna industry.
Well, growing up in Little Italy, everybody was a fisherman. And that was my dad's trade, and I followed his footsteps. And I went fishing when I was 9 years old. And I really enjoyed it. I love fishing. It was really a challenge to catch the fish. It was a lot of fun. But later on, let me tell you, it's a lot of hard work. But the return was good. So
describe tuna fishing. Are these large boats who go out with nets? Is this catching a fish with a pole? Describe how you did it.
When I was in the younger days, I was pole fishing with my father. Then later on, we branched out and we built purse seiners. 650-ton boats, 1,200-ton boats. And these boats cost anywhere from $3 million to $5-6 million. But they caught a lot of fish. You know, we'd go out maybe 30 days, 40 days, and come home with a load of fish. And you had to find, and we were fishing on dolphin, you know, and the dolphin, I mean, the tuna would just lay right underneath the dolphin. Now, it's a mystery why they follow the dolphin. I mean, we have our views, the scientists have their views, okay?
What's your view? Why do you think they do that?
Well, they feed on the same species. They feed on squid, small fish, anchovies, you know. And I think and at night, we found out later, at night, they spread out and they go deep. And that's when they find the squid.
And wasn't it really their relationship with the dolphins that kind of led to this industry's demise somewhat as well? Wasn't that part of it?
Yes, I'm afraid so, you know. And so we would find the dolphin to catch the tuna, okay? And then we had a problem because of mortality, okay? But it wasn't as bad as they put on TV. And it became a real public issue. And it got so bad that, I mean, we were doing the right things. You know, we implemented some new 1-inch mesh, which Harold Medina, we call it the Harold Medina panel. And it saved a lot of dolphin. It would just spill right over the net, you know. And we did that for a while. But it wasn't enough. We got to a point where it was 99.8% released, unharmed, okay? But that wasn't good enough. So finally, we had to move elsewhere. And we were very fortunate when we went to the West, like Samoa, American Samoa, we found more fish over there. But it wasn't dolphin associated at all.
Right. Matt, why is it important to remind people about this industry?
Well, it's important in a lot of ways because there's so many fishermen still here. I mean, Julius is just one of thousands who are still here, and they still live pretty much in the enclaves that they started in. The Portuguese largely in Point Loma, Italians largely in Little Italy, and the Hispanics, you know, in Barrio Logan. And so these are very tight-knit communities, and there's a lot of pride there. And I mean, it was an industry that not only employed, say, you know, the men on the tuna boats, but a lot of the women worked in the canneries. And then in the early days, you know, the kids would be the ones responsible for mending the bait nets that the bait boats needed to catch tuna. So, you know, it's our mission at the History Center to tell the story of people who made San Diego great, and these people are some of them.
And I know there are a lot of great photos. Where can people find out more information about the time and place of this exhibit?
SanDiegoHistory.org has all you need. We've got a button about tuna right on the front. We have journal articles about tuna, and of course our research library is just full of all these photos and a lot of some other old documents. So
we will also link to that on our website, kpbs.org. Gentlemen, thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Tonight in the public square, the polls close in about an hour. All day social media has been buzzing with personal voting stories and declarations of support. Here's a look at how candidates for mayor of San Diego spend part of their day. Here's Assemblymember Nathan Fletcher. He began his day surfing before he cast his vote. And now here is Councilmember Carl DeMaio. He's in Rancho Bernardo. Of course, that's his home district. And here he's chatting up some photographers. Now here's a look at Congressman Bob Filner. He's speaking with some potential voters over coffee. And finally, District Attorney Bonnie Dumanis poses with her mother and her wife earlier in the day. Send me your photo of Election Day. You can email it to me, jfarian@kpbs.org, or post it on Twitter or Facebook. And let me know if I can use it tomorrow night on the show.
Recapping tonight's top stories, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals says it won't review a ruling by 2 of its judges on Proposition 8. Earlier this year, the judges said California's same-sex marriage ban was unconstitutional. Proponents of the ban say they will take the case to the U.S. Supreme Court. If the High Court accepts it, oral arguments could begin next spring. San Diego's Rady Children's Hospital got high marks in a national review. U.S. News and World Reports ranks pediatric hospitals on a variety of specialties, from cancer care to orthopedics. Rady came in second on orthopedics and was 12th in the overall rankings. And you still have a little while to catch the transit of Venus. The planet is passing between the Earth and the Sun right now, looking like a black dot on the Sun's disk. It will be visible until sunset, about an hour from now. After that, there won't be another transit until 2017. But before you rush outside, you do need special glasses to look at it safely. If you don't have them, you can catch the transit online at NASA's website. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. That's where you will also find full coverage of today's election. And we hope you will join us here tonight on KPBS television and on 89.5 FM. We will bring you the election results and analysis of the vote throughout the evening. Thanks for joining us. You have a great night.